Welcome to the Final Hour podcast, coming to you from the original Living Word Christian Center out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. My name is Jim Hammond.
I'm Lonaiah Farrell.
Me llamo John.
And John Gap.
And John Gap, yes.
And so...
I don't know why I went Spanish on that one, but...
Well, you're diversifying. Thank you.
John,
yes.
We were on a podcast...
yes, we were.
A few weeks ago. It's about to air here.
It aired.
One part.
Last
it's
night.
Two-parter.
Oh, yeah. The first
Part one.
With Dr. Pamela.
Dr. Pamela. And I'm sorry, I'm
Purpose with Pamela.
Purpose with Pamela.
Purpose by design.
Oh, yeah, purpose by design.
With Dr. Pamela.
It's not our normal, what we talk about here. Very gifted lady.
Yeah.
There. Obviously called. And so... check it out because it's a different, definitely a different angle.
I'll provide the link.
She has a talent for just kind of drawing things out, and we actually taped with her for probably an hour and 50 minutes.
Yeah, right.
So it turned into 2 podcasts, and it's Purpose with Pamela. Check it out. She's a big part of the church here.
Yeah.
And obviously called to the ministry.
I had a lot of fun doing that.
It was easy.
Yeah.
She made it easy. And so her assistant, which is
Nicole.
Yes, Nicole. Mm-hmm. I want to thank you too. And so check us out. You can find it. She's been doing it a long time. She's got like 7,000 subscribers. So
yeah.
But we're looking at we're taping this today on June 1st, Thursday, June 1st. It's going to be 90 degrees. And I'd rather have 90 degrees than 20 below.
Hallelujah.
All day. I'd rather have 90 degrees than 10 above all day. Mm-hmm. Would I rather have 90 degrees than 30 degrees? Probably.
Yes.
I'm real comfortable at 45 degrees, though.
Yeah.
I just sat
Just like
outside at a
retriever.
baseball game at 45 like a week ago, and it wasn't fun.
Yeah, but you'd already been exposed to the warm weather.
I know, so I had both, and I'm telling you, I'd rather have the warm weather than...
as a human, you acclimate.
Well, as a human, you acclimate to 90, too.
That's what I'm saying, but I'm comfortable naturally more at...
50s.
A little cooler. Yeah.
I tell you what.
I take 70 all day and wouldn't complain.
When we moved to Singapore back in 2003, we stayed there for 2 years, and
the weather's nice there, isn't it?
It's so hot. It's like the equivalent of here, 90 and above.
And it's
9 months
not
a year.
Dry at all.
It's humid. Your hair's like...
They have 3 months of rainy season, right? Like November, December, and January in Singapore. There's no winter. And but I remember having the hardest time adjusting to that. I was sweating all day.
Yeah.
Every day. It didn't matter if it was in air con. I remember trying to work out in that heat. It was so I understand what you're saying.
Sounds
about
like
having
my
to
bar
acclimate.
sport class.
Yeah. It sounds like
That's how it is. It's like 99 degrees and humid and blah.
my first mission trips were to Peru, down to Iquitos, and that was the way I was. I was just, you got up and you're already sweating. Like there's no not warm. Yeah.
I played tennis this morning with a friend of mine, and I was sweating. That was at 6 a.m., and I was sweating when I still got here.
Guys, if you have a
From
water
after
bottle
a
and it's
shower,
frozen and you
after all
put that on the back of your neck, helps.
I heard that could give you an aneurysm.
I was going to say, that'd give you a heat stroke if you're too hot and you get too cold of water.
Are you
That's what they
kidding?
said in the
Don't do
military.
that, guys. Consult with your physicians before you take any of our advice.
I had a teacher in high school who
Are you kidding?
He had to take it easy because he was a volunteer firefighter and got roasted and then got off, drank some really cold water, and he went down for the count.
Okay, but that's just
He survived,
interesting.
but,
I was going to say curious to me because so many people are doing the hot cold thing right now. It's like a big thing. There's like so many clubs popping up in Minnesota where you do a sauna and then you jump into a cold like water. You know what I mean? Ice cold water.
But
well, I've done that.
About
that's like
ice cold water. The first time it's hitting your body.
Yeah.
And right in that in the back of your
when
neck
you're
there.
Oh, it can't be right here.
We're just saying there is you can have a system
anymore.
shock. There's a shock that you can put your system into if you have been in extreme.
It could improve things for you, Lonaiah. But anyways,
funny,
yes,
Jim.
Yes,
okay.
I can be humorous. But this is gonna air Tuesday, June 6th. Okay, and so Tuesday morning. 12:01 a.m. It's going to air Tuesday, June 6th. And please, I want to thank our 1,750 subscribers.
That's awesome.
Thank you so much. On YouTube alone.
Yeah.
That's just YouTube. Thank you so much.
I was going to snap, but I snap a
Even
lot.
though suspiciously we get 500 to 700 views a week on YouTube, we have 1,750 subscribers, and it just keeps climbing.
Yeah.
And we won't comment on the censorship, but anyways.
Yeah, we won't
comment on that.
Yes, but you want to...
I'm starting.
Yeah, how many... I'd like to know...
I have 9 pages.
Okay.
9
A 20 font.
Yeah.
Does that help you? It's like 13.
It means I can read it from over here if you want me to.
Okay. So we had a Living Word congregation member send in an article this morning. She actually sent in an email. I think it was late last night.
Yeah.
She has been homeschooling her son since I think she sent it to both of us.
Yeah.
Maybe you haven't read it yet. Since he was a little kid, and he's a junior in high school now, and he decided that he wanted to go to school for the first time to be a light and kind of... Yes, share the truth of God with people. So he is in the Osseo School District. I don't want to say what school he's at, just to be respectful, but he's in the Osseo School District.
Well, that's kind of obvious if he's in 11th grade.
Well, there's Osseo School District. Anyways.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. But the Osseo School District is, they're going to fly the Pride flag because obviously it's June 1st, so it's Pride Month. We've talked about that numerous times on here. In all of their school buildings. Okay, and this is an article from Minnesota Alpha News. It said the district was also recently exposed for making a book available to kindergartners that questions the ability of parents to accurately gender their children at birth. Is that ridiculous?
Insane.
You're either a boy or a girl.
Yeah.
Okay, anyways, that just is so annoying.
The people in charge of education.
They are the people in charge of education.
Winners, especially here.
Especially here. So the Osseo area schools will be flying Progress Pride flags, that's what they're calling it, inside all of their buildings, starting today, obviously. They said that this is a way to make everybody feel more inclusive. Is that right?
That's our Minnesota skills for you.
But did you guys...
I have more on that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because in that article, it links to the one mom reading the book that is that's been in Osseo School District kindergarten classes, which is it's about transgendering. That whole idea. That lady spoke at the same meeting my sister Michelle did a couple of weeks ago. And I got an update this morning from Michelle. Yeah, she said there's a district, there's a petition that they have going to send to the district to say, hey, slow your roll on this whole transgender thing. We want our kids to be scholars. We don't need to have sexualized, content for
a kindergartner
teaching. For kindergartner and all the way up. This is about being a scholar. This is about being a student, a good student, and that has nothing to do with it. So here's what she said. Evidently, the school district is working on a point-by-point rebuttal to the petition. The draft they routed internally said kindergarten teachers chose to place the transgender book in their classrooms, and teachers are pushing back and saying it was not them. So it's causing friction within the district, which is good. The LGBT coalition is calling for people to show up at the June 20th school board meeting. That's a Tuesday, 3 weeks from now.
To fight this?
So if anyone's able to be there at that June 20th meeting, show up and show support. because they are getting a bunch of people. The crazy thing is they do this after the school year. So you have to be plugged in and know what your district is doing the whole year round. You can't take any time off.
You can't take a summer break like your kids.
Exactly. So, but she said they have teachers secretly emailing us right now. So there's a bunch of people inside that are trying to fight this.
If I was a teacher,
you have to get it in front of the board and say, hey, this is what we were talking about the last couple of weeks is the lack of action is consent.
Yes.
If you don't speak up, if you don't fight, you are consenting to whatever they're trying to push. So you have to stand up for it. You have to stand up for your kids. You have to stand up for your city. You need
locally,
to act locally.
Just like the Green City thing.
Yep.
Trust us. That's World Economic Forum through and through. You don't want to be a green city.
Yeah.
Okay. You start seeing your roads get smaller. Yeah. The sidewalks get bigger. It's a long, patient It's a patient plan being rolled out. You want to fight the green city thing within your community. Okay.
In Minneapolis, they're taking away parking from apartment buildings, uptown, area, and they're making it like solely for bikes.
Yeah.
So if you have an apartment building and you had space outside of your apartment building where people can park,
where you can park because you live there.
Yes, yes, and it's crazy.
They're doing a bike lane down the middle of the street.
Right.
Yeah, because
that's going to go good.
And I was reading
with the way people
part of the
there.
insanity in Minneapolis.
Well, because they want Minnesota to be by 2040, like
the greenest.
Yes, the greenest.
Everybody walking.
But
eventually,
the pride thing is like I just think it's very invasive. So I don't know if you saw, but there is this. I saw it on Instagram.
Yeah.
This parent, they walked outside. He has gone to so many school board meetings opposing the LGBTQ content in children's classes.
Yeah.
And he walks out in his front lawn, and there's like 4 people from the school there putting 10 pride flags in his front lawn. And he's like, "What are you doing?" And they're like, "Oh, well, the superintendent of the school purchased these flags for your front yard. She thought it'd be nice to put them here." And he's like, "You can't just come and put anything in my yard."
Right.
So I think he's suing them. But what
they're harassing him.
They are harassing him.
Right. So what's next? Sorry.
Well, let me tell you.
There's
Sorry
a
to
lot
be
of
abrupt.
things.
Yes.
But just a reminder, I know I talked about this a long, long time ago, but Park Nicollet is asking children, and me and my daughter had an experience there.
Park
5
Nicollet
years
is
ago.
a medical provider. It's clinics and whatever if you're not in the Minneapolis area.
Yeah, and Chris, this guy who listens to the podcast and sends content, and he sent out just this reminder, and I have the link to the video because it's very interesting, but he said the questions obviously are highly inappropriate. They don't let the parents be in the room, or they ask the parents not to be in the room when the kids are filling these out. And he says basically these questions lead them in to answering all these random things where it's justification so that eventually, if they wanted to, they could take a kid away from a parent who's saying that they're opposing maybe LGBTQ tendencies from the child.
Opposing a sex change.
Yes.
Right.
So pay attention.
The secret
people.
questionnaire.
And that's something that's coming up. That's one of those. That was one of those legislative questions that we were talking about for Minnesota.
Yeah.
Is that they were more pushing that idea. I don't know if that passed or not with all of the other crazy things, but the idea that in secret, you can go to jail because you have told your children.
They did pass that.
Yeah. So this is a
slowly,
fight. But you've got these medical providers in on the whole thing.
I got some emails this week from some people who work at a hospital here in Minnesota, and they are giving people badge flares. They're all about the pronouns, pushing the LGBTQ thing. I'm going to be respectful of the location and who it was, but I'm just reading these text messages, and I'm like, what is happening here?
Right.
And half the pronouns, they, she, what does that even mean?
That's a pronoun, they and she.
Yes. So you're
they
they.
identify.
So you're a they, not a her.
Okay, but they that.
Right.
You're one person. It's just the they thing doesn't make sense.
Right.
Anyways.
We can figure that out later.
Yes.
Well, my niece is in English, and she's like, they're trying to teach us English, and it's I, they, and them.
Right.
And those all mean different things.
Right.
But then when you're referring to a girl in a class who's a lesbian, they're a they, them. And she's like, how does that make sense with what you just taught me to the teacher?
Yeah. They're rewriting language.
Of course they are.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So this is interesting. So I don't know if anybody saw this over the weekend. I didn't because I was not really on social media. But the media is colluding with the feds to lay narrative for, they're saying, for right-wing attacks on the U.S. power grid.
Right.
So this is by Leo Human. We've talked about him before, but he said, when the lights go out, it's becoming clear who will be blamed. The media is not your friend, he said. The corporate media has become so corrupt and their messaging is so indistinguishable from the government in Washington that they will literally say anything that they're told to say. So all the major corporate media outlets that work in collusion with the federal government, they put this alert out this weekend saying, like all the others, the Department of Homeland Security is reporting that the white national attacks on the U.S. power grid is going to be the way that they disrupt the country and the government's ability to operate. They're blaming right-wing activists.
And we've been saying this for a year.
Yes.
That there are blackouts coming. And they've even said there are this, but now they're saying this is how it's going to happen.
It's going to be right-wing people.
Yeah, and that's why we call this the next big lie.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah, but listen.
Because when power starts going out for lengths of time, a week, 10 days, in different parts of the country, I'm sure they've got it all planned out and mapped out.
Yep.
And they're blaming white nationalists. Okay? And so this is it's a lie.
Yeah.
It's a lie. Like, okay, I mean,
I
just don't know. I mean, I want to say, okay, just keep going.
Well, the Department of Homeland Security put this bulletin out on May 24th. Lone offenders and small groups motivated by a range of ideological beliefs and personal grievances continue to pose a persistent threat to the United States. Both domestic violent extremists and those associated with foreign terrorist organizations continue to attempt to motivate supporters to conduct attacks, including through violent extremist messaging and online calls for violence.
Yeah.
Like what? And this is interesting because this goes perfectly with an article that Daniel sent in. So the Biden regime is lumping Christians, conservatives, and Republicans into the same category as Nazis in a new Department of Homeland Security anti-terrorism program. This is just a little different. So there was like a group of people who started doing some research into where Biden was putting money into to go after. Remember the Catholic priest who got arrested?
Right.
Then they were arresting like Christians at abortion clinics, parents
the sidewalk
at
people that were
school board
in.
meetings, all of that.
Right.
And I saw Matt. What's the guy's name in
Gase.
Florida? Yes.
Yep.
He was interviewing an FBI person saying, so the FBI told you, the guy's on record saying, yes, the FBI told you to stop going after extremists who are actually hurting America and smuggling in drugs, doing sex trafficking, child trafficking, all those things. Right. And they told you to go after school boards and parents in the parking lot. And the guy was like, insane. Yes, that is what they said.
Not fentanyl carriers coming in illegally on the border.
No, but parents.
Right.
Like John was saying at school board meetings.
Standing up against the education system.
Yeah. So this watchdog, this conservative watchdog group, because there's called a Freedom of Information Act where you're allowed to get, I guess, information from the government on things that they're spending their money on. Yeah. So it proved that the Department of Homeland Security targeted violence and terrorism prevention grant program. That's the grant program that they're putting money into. It provides funds to various public, private, and nonprofit institutions, such as universities and county governments, to establish or enhance capabilities to prevent targeted and violent terrorist groups. It's going insane. After parents at school board meetings.
Yeah.
What a threat we are.
But remember, it's going to be controversial when the power goes out.
Yeah.
Stepping back one article. And, it's going to be all over CNN, all over CBS, NBC, Lester Holt, all those guys are going to be white nationalists.
Right.
Right? White supremacists. Right? And we, in no way.
Who wants the power to go out?
But you can see it.
Yeah.
We don't support those people.
No.
We don't agree with those people. But I'm telling you, it's not going to be those people.
Right.
Okay, just like the train stuff and all the stuff. You got diesel diesel vehicles going up in flames all over the country right now.
Yep.
No one knows why.
No one knows.
No one knows.
Can I comment on that a little bit?
Yes.
Please do, John.
So I've got an article here from Need to Know the News or needtoknow.news. Do you remember about a week ago there was a gentleman who rammed a U-Haul into the White House barriers,
trying to seize power?
Yeah, he
that's what it
so
said.
initially, all of the news stations said it was a white nationalist.
Yeah.
There was a Nazi flag with him in.
And he was like an Indian guy.
He
right?
is a 19-year-old Indian descent, Sai Kandula. Not an American citizen, not even he was not even cleared to be here, but he said he was going to get to the White House and seize power.
He's going to take over.
To be put over the nation. But he was charged. So, all of those people, like the priest and the father of 7 who got tossed,
sad.
They had a raid at their house and got tossed in jail, and, he's since released. But this guy attacked the exterior of the White House and has major
Which
malfunctions.
he ran into one of the gates. Ran
into one of the gates, had a white had a Nazi flag, and this guy had multiple charges. He was originally charged with threatening to kill, kidnap, or inflict harm on a president, vice president, or family member, as well as assault with a dangerous weapon, reckless operation of a motor vehicle, trespassing, and destruction of federal property. But it has been dropped down to 1 count of depredation of property of the United States in excess of $1,000. So
it?
all of that. So you have people being charged that are people like peacefully interacting with other people, but this guy attacked the White House and everything's dropped except for 1 vehicle charge.
I'm gonna look into that.
Right,
story.
and obviously the news used it as a reason to say, look at white nationalists.
The Nazis.
The Nazis are attacking.
But did anyone see the Nazi flag in this guy's car?
Oh yeah, the people, the policeman spread it out on the ground in front of the U-Haul so that all the cameras could capture it. But he wasn't like waving it around or anything. And obviously,
okay, wait, it was a big flag.
It was a flag that was in a backpack that they pulled out so that all the camera people could take pictures of it.
Sounds like a setup.
It was, and that's what everybody's saying.
And then they're letting them off.
It's a Fed operation.
Yeah. Well, remember the FBI and all those guys involved in the January 6th stuff? Like,
right. What's the next thing? I
the
want this
J6.
episode to be able to
keep moving.
No, I want the episode to be able to stay on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, not get yanked.
Elon Musk and the next step for Neuralink. So the FDA approved human brain computer tests. So they were doing this on monkeys. I think they were like allowing monkeys to get the chips in their brain, but now they're saying it's approved for humans. And I know we talked about this a couple weeks ago, but Elon Musk needed Twitter because he needed I think you had the right word for it.
Are we talking about like
why he needed it for Neuralink?
Because it gets all of the information. It has a database of input.
So he says humans will be hybrids by 2030. So Kurzweil, he's this agnostic tech guru. Right. This is what he said. He said he predicts that humans will become hybrids in the 2030s. That means our brains will be able to connect directly to the cloud. Talking about the iCloud, guys, where there will be thousands of computers, and these computers will augment our existing intelligence.
Right.
Our thinking will be the hybrid of biological and non-biological thinking. I know we've talked about this before, but he said you're going to be subhumans. It's going to be for the elites. Yeah. So the people who can't buy it, you're going to just be like...
But eventually they'll roll that out in a form in the mark of the beast.
Well, and you take a look at this. This is like right out of Genesis, the days of Noah, where... the enemy was trying to wipe out the bloodline that Jesus would eventually come from, but that's because there is humanity. You know, we talked about this. Noah was perfect in his days or in his generations. He was fully human. So I equate this to this chip situation is going to take you out of the classification of a human, and your soul is going to be compromised because you no longer have your will, purely your own will.
It says the merging technology with the mind will change a person at the core. It'll change your brain functions. Right. According to this article, some of these patients, these devices become such an integrated part of themselves that they refuse to have them removed at the end of the clinical trial.
I'll stay with the flip phone, but I don't think we're going to be here when this thing, you know, we're just seeing the beginning of it. They're progressing. They're putting it in people. They're going to say how great it is. And by the time the mark of the beast comes around, you know, in the tribulation and we're all gone, they're going to say, hey, you know, it's going to double your lifespan. Maybe it says that you'll never die. Mm-hmm. It'll renew your youth. It'll keep you from getting cancer. And this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. So,
well, this is the last article and kind of goes with it. So this is from the World Economic Forum. They have a podcast. I didn't know that. Daniel sent this in. So they're calling artificial intelligence the beast, which I think is very interesting. This is what he says. I'm just quoting him directly.
Real obvious.
My conspiracy with this is, what if AI goes off the rails and the Antichrist brings it back under control? Either way, I think it's interesting that they talk about this being the version of AI that is now available to the public. They also talk about, he's referring to the World Economic Forum, they talk about everything in short, medium, and long-term goals. They do this with everything. He's like, it's an interesting podcast. But isn't it crazy that they're calling AI the beast?
Yes.
But they know the part they're playing.
Oh, yeah.
They know the part. They think they're going to win, but... You know, that's just here we go. You know, that's not a lie. That's on a podcast.
It is.
That's a World Economic Forum podcast. And I absolutely, I believe AI will go completely off the rails. You know, out of control, and because they're already kind of they're putting that out there. Remember Elon Musk?
Yep. Yeah.
They need to back up on what they're doing. Hello, you're responsible for it.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
They need to back up because they can't control it. So they're already telling you they're having trouble controlling this thing. Right? Mm-hmm. So
Can I say one more thing just to then I'll be done. But I was listening to this Instagram account. It was this girl who she was a lesbian and she wanted to transition to a man. And she said that she was a Christian. She was praying did I send this to you?
Yeah, you did.
And she was praying, and the Lord kind of brought her a vision where it was a husband and a wife, and they had a ton of kids, and their generation line was going and going and going. They were all praising God. And then he kind of showed her the other side of it, and it was a woman and a woman, and there was a black line, I think, with a red stop.
Yeah.
And there was no generations after them.
After.
And so the Lord was basically saying the devil has always tried to wipe out future generations of people who will praise the Lord. And she said that is exactly what he's trying to do with the LGBTQ push. I mean, you can put the AI thing in there too, all of it. They're just trying to wipe away future generations that will bring glory to God. And that is the ultimate, what the devil's trying to ultimately do.
For sure.
Well,
corrupt the seed.
Looking at where we are in the world,
it's a good hashtag there, Lonaiah. Corrupt the seed.
Corrupt the seed.
That's his
hashtag.
That's his goal.
Sorry. No, it's I was growing up in the 80s, a rebellious kid at a Christian school. I'll just tell you, that you can surmise either two things. And when you're looking at where we are, all the things we're talking about that's going on at the same time, all this worldwide. Either Jesus is not coming back, right? You've got to look at, there's one or two choices, which for me is out of the question. You'll see. Or it's the other. He's really close.
Right.
All right? Really close. And looking at all the things that are going on at one time in the world. And eschatology is defined as the science of the study of the Word of God regarding future events. A quarter of the Bible, and some scholars believe up to 33% is written in regards to future events.
Mm-hmm.
God says about himself, behold, I am he, there is none like me. And I'm the one who has spoken to you, and I have told you the future before it comes to pass. And when it does come to pass, you will know that I am he. Mm-hmm. And so God said that. Islam didn't show up until the 7th century.
Right.
Any prophetic utterance from Islam has simply been taken from the Bible and put into the Quran. You're not going to find another religion that does so much prophesying of the future. Mm. The ones that have the guts to do it, you'll see eventually are wrong.
Right.
Yet we see 80% of Bible prophecy has been fulfilled. Right?
That's crazy.
And you know, look at Daniel 11. When you really study out Daniel 11, he's prophesying hundreds of years in advance of the Ptolemy and Seleucid regimes going back and forth, trying to get control over the land of Israel. Every war. Every
Alexander the Great.
Every marriage. Everything. And that's why people think the book of Daniel it can't be right. It had to be written after, right? And it's so accurate. You do not see here where we are this church growth tactic here at Living Word. And what's a church growth program tactic? Don't talk about the end times. Don't talk about prophecy in regards to the end of the world, end time issues. Don't go deep into that. That's a commonly known church growth program. But obviously we don't mess with that. Why is that a church growth tactic? Because it's talking about eschatology in regards to Bible prophecy, and it can cause controversy.
Right.
And so why? So many churches stay away from it. No one ever hears it. So when they hear it, they view it as controversial, you know, especially with half the church today believing in no rapture.
Right, right.
Probably another 10% of the body of Christ believes there's no hell and everyone's going to heaven. Universalism.
Then what did Jesus come for?
Yeah, exactly. As I heard one Word of Faith leader talking about, just annoyed me to hear this because other Assemblies of God guys that are on top are touting that about Word of Faith. He doesn't even know what's going to happen in the end. That's why he doesn't go there, right? And well, hello, you have the books of Daniel, Revelation, parts of Ezekiel, for that matter, parts of all the minor prophets. If you look at all the minor prophets, it's Psalms.
Yeah. Well, even Thessalonians and different things Jesus said.
Yes, it just multiple prophecies about exactly about what's going to happen, and we're talking exclusively now about Bible prophecy.
Yeah,
not like Nostradamus and you know, or maybe a guy says I've got a New Ager, not that. This is specifically Bible prophecy.
Specifically.
We're talking about God revealing to us through...
Are you okay, Lonaiah?
Yeah, I was just thinking of something about a pastor.
What were you thinking?
Just some pastors who just are going off the rails right now.
Yeah.
Completely off the rails.
Yeah.
Like Easter, hanging a woman on a cross.
And referring to Jesus as a stripper.
Yeah, recent.
Yes.
Recent was on an offering message.
World.
In an offering message.
I just
all we can do is pray for them, right?
Yes.
And so all this that we've been talking about for the last 18 months kind of culminates with all this going on, how close are we to Christ coming for the church in the rapture?
Yeah.
And I think we're closer than we think, right? And I would never give a date, but doesn't it just sound so perfect that they're calling that everybody's going to have one of these chips by in the 2030s, right? I mean,
makes sense.
But no one is really watching how close we are. No one's putting together that we are the restraining force.
Yeah,
right now for the spirit against the spirit of Antichrist that is entering the world, right? And in the world as we speak. And it says very clearly in 2 Thessalonians that there will be a great falling away of Christians before the Antichrist is revealed. Okay, so when you look at the Antichrist, if you look at signs that precede the Antichrist, we can just chalk those up for signs for us.
Right.
Right? Yeah. And so we, the church, the restraining force, are taken out of the way in the rapture. And that the spirit of Antichrist will already be here, which we see. You know, you're talking about lines of generations just being blocked, you know, generations stopping, just all the, no one is putting together that we are the restraining force for the spirit of the Antichrist that is in the world and wants, and is, it's like a battle between good and evil. And it's already here. It's operating through governments, I would say through our own government easily.
Yes.
Through the World Economic Forum, for the World Health Organization, through the United Nations.
Yep.
All these, right? And just notice here, 2 Thessalonians 2:1. Paul is talking about relative to the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ. He's talking about the rapture. And our gathering together to meet. I'm begging you, brethren, don't allow your minds to be unsettled, disturbed, excited, alarmed, whether it be by some pretended revelation of the Spirit, by word, or by a letter alleged to be from us, to the effect that the day of the Lord has already come. So he's like, they're being told, that day's gone. You guys missed it. You're in the tribulation.
This is back in the day.
Yeah, yes. And there's people saying it right now.
Yes.
We're post rapture.
We're already.
They think we're in the
millennium.
Yeah,
we're already past the tribulation. We're in the millennium.
When was Armageddon? Listen, this talking about the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ. Paul wrote the book of 1 Thessalonians. Right, I just read 2 Thessalonians. Deals with things that have to do with the church and the rapture. And all 5 chapters of 1 Thessalonians, there is a promise to bring the church out before the wrath of God. All 5 chapters. Before it hits, before the tribulation hits. It's called the rapture. Right. So what we just read in 2 Thessalonians, he's reminding them about the rapture that he told them about, right? Through his letter and his visits, right? And he hits them again in chapter 2. And then after chapter 2, he deals with the second coming for the rest of the 2 Thessalonians. Listen, after Paul left Thessalonica.
That's a hard word to say.
Thessalonica. And a couple of years after,
I could see it either way.
He wrote the first letter. He wrote a letter, right, telling them about the rapture 5 times in all 5 chapters.
Right.
These other ministers come by, speak. This is why you just don't have anyone at your church. And they confuse the Thessalonian church by saying, this is what Paul meant to say.
Oh,
doubtful.
They're speaking on behalf of Paul. How nice.
Well, we read that they were. And another attack on Paul's letter to Thessalonians was these guys coming by and preaching to the church. We heard from the Lord. And because Roman persecution is ramped up, you guys are in the tribulation. The third angle is someone showed up with a letter and said, this is from Paul. And he's changed his views on these matters. Here, read it. Matters of the rapture in the end times. And that's what we just read when we looked at the second verse.
What sneaky people. Think how long it would take Paul to hear that back in that day.
What snakes.
Paul was correcting that.
Yeah.
That by some pretended revelation, that these guys are showing up, say, God spoke to us by word. That means Paul's changed his views, or by, Paul called it an alleged letter from us. He said, don't be deceived. Don't be deceived, to the effect that the day has already arrived. They're wrong. So he's explaining how the day arrives.
Yeah.
He's explaining how the day arrives in these scriptures. The Thessalonians were deceived into thinking they were in the tribulation, that Jesus was coming and coming for good. And in a matter of years, they were going to be in the millennium. So Paul is writing in 2 Thessalonians in response to these guys that had deceived the church, the Thessalonians, into thinking that that this first letter he was wrong, or they misinterpreted him, or they wrote another letter. Yes.
Well, doesn't that just make you feel good that you should just take the Bible for the Bible and not someone else's opinion of misrepresenting what the Bible is trying to say or misinterpret it.
Yeah. So Paul's giving an answer to what you could call false doctrine.
Right.
Because they were deceived.
Check it against the word.
On the end times.
Be a Berean.
Well, and the great thing that we have now is a compiled Bible. We can go Genesis through Revelation, and we have it at our hands. They didn't have that kind of technology. They didn't have that kind of collection of all of the writers of the church, as well as the Old Testament. But wouldn't that be a lot more difficult if you didn't have it all right in one book?
I'm glad I was born when I was born. Who knows what I would have believed back then.
For such a time as this, Lonaiah.
Would have been worshiping Ishtar.
Someone come in
the warrior goddess.
Somebody would come in with a letter, and I'd be like, "What?
Oh, really?
Paul didn't say that."
Paul, that little minx.
I'm glad. Anyways, carry on.
Okay, and so they thought, well, we're almost at the end here. They had all quit their jobs, thinking because of the persecution of the Romans was ramped up. They were convinced they were in the tribulation. Yeah. What's the point of keeping a job? It's almost over.
I had a roommate who's a believer. This is like 1999, and
because of Y2K.
Well, just everything. He's like, yeah, we're not going to be here in 10 years. We're going to be raptured by then.
So he quit.
So he didn't quit, but he was like, there's no reason for me to put any retirement
away. But do you remember Y2K? Everyone thought.
I still haven't.
Everyone thought put retirement away. Everyone thought that Y2K was gonna.
Yeah.
I mean, my dad bought a cabin. It was called God's Wilderness, and it's up in somewhere in Minnesota. I don't know, up north somewhere by
Can I go visit?
Yeah, he's selling it, so you can.
Nice.
There's no running water, but this whole little community built a place for Y2K, and all these people went there. And let me tell you, I walked through some of those houses because there's a lot of vacant houses. It looks like the people just got up from breakfast, and this was almost 20 years ago, and just left. There's like baby car seats and food, and just it looks like. It
looks like someone raptured.
I know. I kind of did start to question myself.
Looks like The Walking Dead.
I don't know. I never saw it, but it's scary. It's scary there. But God's Wilderness, that's what it was called.
God's Wilderness.
God's Wilderness.
What a name.
Well, we've all seen Christians do that over the years. John just brought it up because they thought a certain date. Usually it's because they think it's a prophet gives the date of the rapture.
Yep.
And so they go put a sports car on their credit or something.
I'm not going to need this money.
Yeah, so they sold their stuff.
Today.
Bought a really nice car, and maybe you guys haven't. I've seen it. I've seen it over the years.
Yep.
2 Thessalonians 3:10 through 12. I want to tell you, because one chapter later, this is what he says. For even when we were with you, this we commanded you, that if any of you don't work, you shouldn't eat. They were telling them, don't quit your jobs. You know, even they had already told them this. For we hear that there are some which walk among you disorderly, working not at all.
Get your crap together.
And because
if you don't work, you don't eat. I like that.
You're busybodies because you're not working. Verse 12. Now them that are such we command, exhort by our Lord Jesus Christ, that with quietness they work and eat their own bread. So this is what he's saying. Go back to work. You're not in the tribulation. They had quit their jobs thinking
that it was coming.
It's all going to go south anyways.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
And but let's.
Wouldn't you want your mind occupied instead of sitting at home thinking, like looking out your window, wondering what's happening?
Yeah.
Listen,
all those busybodies. Imagine that time.
2 Thessalonians 2:3. Let no man deceive you. Now he's giving you an order. Remember, I wrote to you about the rapture. Don't be deceived. They're writing fake letters on me. They're saying I said things. They're saying they had a bunch of visitations from God. He's like, don't be deceived, for that day is not coming, except there come a falling away first, that the man of sin be revealed. There's got to be a falling away. The son of perdition, that's the Antichrist. He says, don't be deceived. He's not coming. Some things have to happen. First, you're going to have Christians falling away. Yes, they are falling away.
Yeah.
I think we're in that, right? Before the man of lawlessness.
Deconstructionists.
The Amplified calls them.
Definitely a big thing right now.
Yeah, that's the Antichrist is revealed. And then verses 4 and 5, it talks about, some of his attributes. verses 4 and 5 in 2 Thessalonians 2, who opposeth, exalteth himself above all that is called God or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple, showing himself that he is God. He does that 3.5 years into the tribulation, right? He sits down in a rebuilt Jewish temple and says, I am God. Yeah. Remember, this is what he says, verse 5, though. Remember ye not that when I was with you, I've already told you these things. Right? Do you see him telling them? He just told them, don't you remember what I told you about this? Then verse 6, and now you know what withholdeth that he might be revealed in this time. All right? So something's withholding. Mm-hmm. Something's withholding the Antichrist. And he says, you know what's restraining him from being revealed. 2 Thessalonians 2:7, the mystery of lawlessness, that hidden principle of rebellion against constituted authority. Is already at work in the world. Okay? Mm-hmm. Right. But it is restrained only until he who restrains is taken out of the way. Right. The church, by the rapture. He's calling it a hidden principle of rebellion. That's the spirit that's already here, and it says it's restrained, and he who restrains is taken out of the way until, and then there's no restraining it. Then it just bust open. Yep. And you know, just having church on Sundays across the world is a major restrainer. It's more about the spirit. It's more about things being restrained in the spirit first, that translates into the physical. Having church, hundreds of millions of people worshiping God that have Jesus in their heart over a 24-hour time span once a week is a major restrainer. Yeah. Just having church. Right. And all those people, does the devil have that?
No.
Like hands raised, services dedicated, right?
Unless you count Taylor Swift concerts.
Yeah, well, even then, that's only 80 at a time. He has a Swiftie. Okay, but having church.
You saw that at what I sent you. Right?
I've seen it, yes.
Oh, man, Lonaiah, come on. Drinking Starbucks and watching Taylor. All right, having church. Hundreds of millions worshiping God.
Find your way to God's wilderness. That's all I'm saying.
Let's just pray that she doesn't come back converted. And I would cover yourselves like curses leaving out of there. I would take authority over any curses and level against you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, you saw the one I sent where they have like a witch.
That's what
ceremony.
I'm going to the bathroom at the concert. Okay.
There's a ceremony on stage.
No, it's like Willow. It's like during the song she's wearing like a cloak and she's like
they're dancing around like they're in a coven, a witch coven, doing a little.
Don't judge
thing. Me. I'm not judging you.
No, Jim.
We're warning you.
We're warning
I'm
you.
warned.
We're saying,
I know. Look,
hey,
cover yourself.
You're not going
to
take your children, are you?
I would take your authority twice when you're in there. I would take authority twice when you're in there.
Yes.
At the beginning and the end and possibly the middle.
And
okay, and so
be praying,
I pray under I'm not going to convert to Satanism.
Good.
Or anything.
I'm so glad.
My soul is with God forever.
Listen.
My name is written in the book.
He says, all those, think about all these misguided, deceived, countless number of ministers out there that teaching that the church is going to go through the tribulation, right? And, can I just be straight with you?
I hope so.
Because I was just listening to a guy that used to preach that we're going through the tribulation, and he was explaining how they have to twist the scriptures so much to get that. Yeah. To get people to believe that the church is going through the tribulation, right? I don't have time to do a teaching on Romans 11, but I'll tell you this. They also have to replace, if you're going to teach the church is going through the tribulation, you have to replace Israel with the church. Right. With the church.
That's another problem.
Big problem.
Yeah.
It's tough to do. And that's all of Romans 11. I mean,
you can't even go, hey, from the church there's going to be 144,000. It doesn't make sense unless you're looking at Israel and its 12 tribes. That's really the only way it breaks out.
Right. They've got some creative ways of twisting the scripture. Romans
So
11
crazy.
says all of Israel will be saved. It says the Gentiles, that's us, referring to the church, are grafted in.
Yeah.
All right. And these people go to great pains of twisting the scripture, of discounting many, many scriptures on the rapture, explaining them away just to scare everybody into thinking we're all going through the tribulation.
Yeah.
And, they're taking it out of, God pulled out the only people he had left in Noah.
Right.
He pulled out Lot, who was not a good guy. Lot and his family.
Right.
The night before Sodom and Gomorrah, Lot was offering his virgin daughters to the townsmen.
Hey, don't look at those guys.
Those guys,
Take my daughters and have your way with them.
Have you seen the Lot and his wife selling pepper shakers?
Obviously, his wife's
She's the
salt
salt.
shaker.
Listen,
Made me laugh when I saw that the other day.
didn't you bring
Epic
up
Christian
to me?
memes.
Didn't you bring up to me recently that if we go in the rapture, that if you can't look back because you'll be turned to salt?
Yeah.
Didn't
Well, I
someone
In
thought,
the air.
yeah, that's how I grew up thinking. Like, don't look back like Lot's wife. Like
you're
my
raptured.
my poor kids. I've told them that their whole lives. And then you said that's not what it means, Lonaiah. Don't look back longingly, like wishing you could be with the worlds.
Right.
You mean, but that's Lot in Genesis.
Yeah.
That's not
Yeah,
the rapture.
I'm telling you what my
but it says in the New Testament,
undeveloped Christian brain thought as a
Lot
child.
was a righteous man.
It
says that.
because God
Considered righteous.
Yeah, God considered him righteous. That's how Sodom and Gomorrah were saved for that time till they could get out.
As big as a doofus as he was.
Yeah,
Okay.
and his daughters.
Oh, and he gets out, gets in a
And
cave.
And his wife, she turned around.
Gets drunk,
She just froze.
sleeps with
His
and it's
daughters.
calling a lot of righteous man.
Right.
It's because of Abraham's righteousness.
That is
Righteousness was accounted to Abraham just because he believed. Not because of how
God,
good he was.
right.
All right, he made mistake after mistake.
Right.
I don't have time to go into all that. I can tell you, some of the guys that say we aren't going in the tribulation are making a bunch of money by selling stuff to become hoarders. Okay, like you need to hoard up food. You need to hoard up water.
You mean if we
Right.
started selling like final hour food kits?
The final hour prep kit. Honestly, I mean,
right?
should I look into it? Do you want merchandising? Do you want to? I'm just kidding.
Some food, some RE, what are they called?
The MRE.
Yeah, that's what they're called. I was gonna say
We should come up with
Meals
some.
Remedy.
I was gonna say REM, but that's a band.
It is.
Probably
That's me in the
satanic.
corner.
What, Jim?
No, I was just gonna say little Lonaiah and John
Yeah.
and Jerry dolls.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I mean that's
Why not a gym
worthwhile no
doll?
matter what.
Jim doll.
You take it to the
Gym.
gym and work out.
it's like a little puncher.
Yeah.
Remember, like you could pull the back string and it like punch, 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 punch.
Jerry would be a cute baby bear.
He would
bear.
be a jer bear.
Okay, but really, by these next few podcasts,
I see you as a man, Jeremiah.
He's a,
You're a grown
but
man.
he's a bear.
He's sweet as pie.
But listen, I wasn't ripping on you, Jerry.
Bears are so cute. I watch
Jerry's
bear
cuddly. I
videos
just
all the
wanna-
time.
I just want to hug Jerry.
Travis
should.
Kelsey, what is that the other brother, the one with the mustache? He said he's a little bear, and it reminded me of Jeremiah. The way he was saying it was
Yeah.
cute.
Yeah.
But listen, these next few podcasts, and I've got a little bit are going to be kind of on this subject, but I've got a little bit different one. I'd say 4 out of the next 5, or I'm trying to say to get you ready and get you looking for this instead of focusing on all the terrible things. I want you looking for what the Bible says. The Bible says to be looking for it. The rapture, the Antichrist is a real person that Satan will select. He will probably have technology in him, very possibly.
Neuralink chip.
Yes, but it doesn't.
AI
Maybe.
access and control.
Doesn't it make you wonder that every generation, I mean, going back, looking at Nimrod, you had Roman emperors, you had Alexander the Great, the Seleucid Empire,
Yeah.
had a prototype of the Antichrist.
Right.
Yeah.
There's always one. Even the Seleucid Empire, there was a king that walked into the Jewish temple and sat down.
Right.
Wow.
Yep.
And so, that was in the 330 years between the Old and New Testament. And I mean, all through and through, it's almost like he always had a type of the Antichrist, right?
Yeah.
There was
He
always
needs to be prepared.
There's always a man that could have been.
Right.
I've
always postulated that, that he was always ready just in case it's time.
It's time,
if you read the
yes.
Left
To start
Behind
up because
book-
he doesn't
That's the
know.
point. He doesn't
have
know the appointed time.
No, he doesn't.
He
So
doesn't
he's
know.
always got to have someone who's arranged and ready.
And I didn't
to
know
go.
that until I was reading the Left Behind books, and there's like a little kid that they were grooming
Yeah.
to become the
Yeah.
Antichrist.
Right.
It was very interesting.
Ancient legend says Nimrod was a hunter. His name means hunter. He said he actually wanted to scale the Tower of Babel. He was an expert archer, and he thought he could kill God with a special type of sorcery arrow from the top of the Tower of Babel. But it is believed Nimrod was a hunter of men.
Yeah.
And one
Wow.
pastor I just heard put it, a hunter of the souls of men.
Yep.
That's the first prototype of the Antichrist.
Yeah.
And
I
that's,
think that's where Soul Eater came from, Nimrod.
he tried to unite the world. He really did,
Yeah.
right? And that's what
It was working.
yes, and that's what the satanic and God's like, it's not that time yet,
Right.
And that's what the satanic realm of today is in the hunt for. It's a war
Yeah.
for the souls of men, and that's why what we start way back in the fall. I started doing strong altar calls.
Yeah.
Or salvation calls at the end, no matter what I preached, because it is.
Yeah.
It's a war. It's a war, and all you have to do is you have to believe Jesus died and rose again. You will be saved, right? That it says. I'm just telling you, whosoever believeth in his heart, right? And it says one time in Romans 10:9 and 10, and confess with your mouth. So we do confess with our mouths,
Right.
But I think we're going to see a lot of people in heaven, honestly, that didn't see that one scripture, but just believed.
Yeah.
They believed that he died
just
and
like
rose
Abraham,
again.
just like
Yes, and so, Satan knows that the only way he can inflict pain on God after his defeat through the cross and the resurrection is to take as many human souls with him as he possibly can. Yeah. And all he can do is fight it, right?
Yeah.
Is fight the inevitable end.
And it's all deception.
Yes.
I mean, it's just
God loves you so much, and Satan hates God so much that he wants to hurt God because God loves you so much. And Satan knows that it will hurt God for him to drag you into the pit of hell with him in the end. That's the least he's trying to do. And 1 John 4:3, every spirit which does not acknowledge and confess that Jesus Christ has come in the flesh, but would annul, destroy, sever, disunite him, is not of God.
Yep.
Does not proceed from God. This non-confession is the spirit of the Antichrist, of which you heard that it was coming. It's now here, right? That is the same spirit we just read about in 2 Thessalonians 2:7.
Yeah.
That is already in the world, that the Apostle Paul called a mystery of lawlessness, hidden principle against rebellion, constituted authority that is already at work, and it's being restrained, okay, until the appointed time. What's the appointed time? When it happens.
Yep.
When the rapture happens.
Catching away.
It's a spirit, and we just read 1 John. It's a spirit of Antichrist. Let's look at Daniel 7:8, all right? I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another horn, a little horn.
Just a little fella.
10 horns, and then
Just a little guy.
little horn comes up, 10 horns. Here, Lonaiah, put 10, put it 10. And then just a little guy comes up in there, right? Before, which...
That was weird.
It was like, what's it called? Mr. Rogers, if I like a Mr. Rogers object lesson.
Or Saturday Night Live. Remember Saturday Night Live? They had the little
finger
thing?
puppets?
Yeah. Anyways, I think that was kind of a perverted.
I'm sure it was. It was Saturday Night Live.
Sorry. But that's in the old 80s Saturday Night Live.
You got me going on Mr. Rogers, though. Only boys can grow up to be the daddies. Only the girls can grow up to be the mommies.
I bet they don't show that anymore.
It is going around on TikTok,
Is
though.
it?
Oh,
That
yeah.
is so
It's just
funny.
blazing a trail.
But
I love it.
Fred Rogers.
Fred, the
but
man.
listen, so you got 10 horns. Another little horn comes up, before which 3 of the first horns were plucked up by the roots. And behold, in this horn, the little horn had eyes like a man and a mouth speaking great things. 12 verses later, it's Daniel 7:20. And about the 10 horns, they represent kings, okay, or kingdoms that were on this creature's head. The other horn, the little horn, which came up later, and before which 3 of the original 3 horns fell, right? 3 fell, so you had 7, right?
Plus
to the little horn.
Yeah.
It says again, the little horn had eyes and a mouth that spoke great things, and it looked greater than the others. And as I looked, this horn made war with the saints and prevailed over them. So notice the 10 horns is representing probably the European Union. A lot of scholars call that the revised Roman Empire.
You might have graphically it makes sense for sure.
Yeah, you might have different borders redrawn and all that, but there's going to be 10 kingdoms, 10 kings, and they're gonna move the world, okay, into the tribulation. But the fact that the Antichrist is the little horn, and he's smaller than the other horns, okay,
which it speaks a lot to this whole. You talked about just watch Zelensky, but the Ukrainian nation is not part of the EU.
Oh,
right.
I'm just throwing it out there, and they're getting a whole lot of bucks to be in their position. I don't know anything. Don't listen to me, but just watch.
But
putting that out there.
Just putting it out there.
Well, I'm kind of going there, so it fits. We know that a horn in the Bible is an idiom for power, right? That shows us because the Antichrist starts as a little horn, smaller than the other 10 horns. He's going to come out of nowhere. Yeah. And we think we're going to spot him, right? And we're looking for him. Oh, is it the French president, right? He's the next president of the EU. Is it Zelensky? Does he have Syrian blood? Is he a Jew? Does he have Jewish and Syrian? Right. There's so many opinions. But we know this. He's coming out of nowhere, right? He will be little known and will come on the scene like a storm. Let me give you an example how this happens. Think about Barack Obama. Did anyone know who Barack Obama was?
Oprah did.
But before
she's
2003,
part of the cabal,
4,
so.
5?
No one
2004, whatever it was?
No one did.
No one was paying attention to a community organizer out of Chicago. In 8 months, he's a U.S. senator.
Right.
And then, bingo, he's the president.
Yep.
I mean, think about how fast
he was
that
a senator for, 4 years?
I thought it was only 9 months.
Yeah. He was a senator until
8 months, I thought.
I'll duck go it, actually.
Yeah, good idea.
Okay.
I thought you were coming with a duck, gray duck thing.
No, it's a conservative safari.
Well, it's more like
really? We don't have to use Google?
It's a non-Google
My
why
phone
are we
hardly
using
works.
Google?
It's a
Your
search
phone
engine.
doesn't work anyway.
I know.
Right?
Do you want me to do this?
Listen, it's better to have a flip phone than a phone that doesn't work.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you.
Just throwing shots over here.
I'm secure
in
my
on
Apple
the
phone.
Lonaiah Final Hour podcast doll, it's going to have a T-shirt that says, "I'm funny and I know it."
Yeah, he was 4 years.
4 years. Okay. So I'm telling you, the Antichrist is going to start out as someone rather insignificant.
Yeah.
Probably in the political world, but maybe not. Maybe not, right? And, I mean...
Don't you think they would kind of have to?
No, well, look at look at Jesse Ventura. Look at the Governor Waltz. He was a teacher. I'm just saying. So
worth millions now, but he started out as a teacher.
It looks like anytime you have someone come into power, they were backed. No one's just getting there on their own, right? Especially in the U.S. system, no one is just accidentally put into the spotlight and put into that position. They are someone who they say we can direct things through him. or them or her.
Yeah, obviously, look at Waltz.
I'm reading a series on Hitler. It's a really interesting series. It's not a Christian book. It's a fictional book, but in a way, it's historical fiction because you've got this fictional character, and it describes he's in the middle of everything that was going on.
Is his name Klaus?
With Hitler. And actually
George.
And the Germans thought Hitler was a joke.
Yeah.
For a long time, they thought Hitler was a joke. I'm talking about the German population. And you guys have all heard me talk about this numerous times. The Antichrist defeats 3 of those countries or kings that are in charge of the revised Roman Empire.
Yeah.
And beats them so badly through, I believe, war that the other 7 kingdoms capitulate. And it's just like he's in control, just like that.
Just like that.
He was a little horn.
One move.
Where everybody's going to be saying, we didn't even know who this guy was, right? That's the appointed time. And I will say, I heard really knowledgeable guy say he believes the Antichrist will subdue 3 of those kingdoms through scheming and politics.
Yeah. That seems real possible.
But how do you gain control of 3? I just don't know how he could do it. Maybe he sets them up. Maybe he frames them without. How do you do it without a military? Although Hitler did it without a military, he did it through politics, brutal politics. But he did it and a lot of fear and threats. But he did it through brutal politics. So we read in Daniel 7:20 that it said he had a mouth that said great things greater than the others, things that looked greater than the others.
Stuff that's really Instagrammable.
In other words, he's going to be gifted. He's going to have something special. He's going to possibly be one of the best we've ever seen. Right?
Speaking of like greater speakers, have you heard people? So many people I've heard in the last 2 weeks. They use the chat GPT thing, and they say, oh, you just put in this description and it writes something back for you, and it's amazing. And all these people are like, oh, it's so amazing. And it just makes me think how easily these people will be like, oh, he's such a great speaker. They'll get him that way. And
there's going to be a spell type thing when he speaks. It was the same with Hitler. I'm just telling you, if you look at some of those videos and you look at Hitler, I remember seeing one video. I've only seen it once, but I was astounded.
Yeah,
he's standing in front. Look, upwards of 50,000 people, and he's standing there, and he's just looking at him. He comes to the podium, and he just looks, and looks. You can hear him talking and talking, and they're starting to quiet down, and you think he's waiting for them to quiet down, and then they get silent, and he just looks at them, right? He's looking, and it was just like, wow. You know, it was like they were under a spell.
Yeah,
he didn't even say a word.
Yeah,
and he did that. It was almost a show of pride. I can be up here not saying anything, and this is the kind of power I have.
Yeah,
you know,
and
I just look at some of these. I want to look at some of these signs in the upcoming weeks. Do it through the Bible in regards to the spirit of the Antichrist. That definitely is in the world like it's never been in the world before. And so we're just going to walk through Scripture. You could just say it's on the end times in the next few weeks on this subject outside of one special week when John and Lonaiah aren't here. And that could be a non-special. That could be a non-special week.
We're going to...
Right?
Yeah.
We're going to be on vacation. John's just going to be Jim.
But listen, when John and Lonaiah won't be here is Tuesday, June 20th, right? I taped that on Thursday, June 15th. So it's just going to be me and Jerry.
There you go. Yeah.
So, anyways.
That's coming up.
Yeah. And so we're just going to stay on.
You're going to have to work on your impressions.
On this subject.
You have to throw them in.
You mean his Klaus Schwab?
I have some news for you all. It's going to be wonderful.
I just can't do that. I just don't have that ability.
Welcome to the WEF.
I would have to.
It's going to be wonderful.
I would have to practice.
Yeah.
You could come into a song.
There's probably more productive things that you can do before then. I wouldn't.
Yeah, John. Thanks for the tips. We'll start working on those. What's Jim going to do?
I would appreciate if you worked on it while you're on vacation as well.
I will be. I'll have a lot of time. It's not really vacation. I'm going to be at a baseball tournament for 6 days.
Welcome to the World Economic Forum. All your
Maybe I'll
dreams
get
are
some new
about to come
podcast
true.
listeners in Indiana.
There you go. Spread
Gary,
the good news.
Indiana. Yeah.
Gary.
That's not where I am.
Oh.
It's just a song. I know it is.
Okay.
For Father's Day, we had some. I'm doing Father's Day here at Living Word.
Oh, yeah.
And so I did a Mother's Day message, so it's a Father's Day message, and some of the staff members suggested that I do go the route. They were sending me videos where the dads just leave pumped up, like they can defeat the world, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know. I was like, play a bunch of cheesy videos, and and the point of it, you're talking about father. You're talking about what's a father. You're not talking about a husband,
Right?
You're talking about a father that is a relationship with children.
Yeah.
Right. So I said, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to turn it into a exhortation, But as a joke, me and Lonaiah just started talking.
Does that not pump you up?
Don't get us copywritten.
I stopped. That was like 10
Okay,
seconds.
but anyways,
Dun,
look,
dun, dun.
but so Lonaiah's like, nah, you could do it. We were kind of making fun of the whole thing, You could come out
rising up
from back of the stage,
back on
to
the
Eye of the
stage.
Tiger.
Who doesn't love Rocky?
We actually were in the office,
Yeah.
and I said, all right, let's practice it, Lonaiah.
So I turn on the song.
So she does.
Do you get some haze going up, and you have like a fog?
Sorry.
I was going to squirt a water bottle
Sorry.
Rollo.
So my office, you have my office, then her office. There's a wall in between, and you have the door. And so I'm like, so she starts playing Eye of the Tiger. She's like, well, when are you coming? Because we're going to practice the entrance onto the stage. This is what we do.
Eye of the Tiger pumps anybody
and so
up.
I wait for
Absolutely.
it to kind of kick in. She's like, when are you coming? I was like, it's about timing. And then I come in.
It's true.
It's true.
It's very
I come
true.
in like I would come in.
Yeah.
And
So funny. And his dog Rollo is like just.
my dog trots in behind me thinking he's part of the entrance.
It was
This
really
is just
funny.
me and Lonaiah, by the way.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It was a long day that day.
So
Rollo-
maybe Jim
Rollo
will
gonna
come
bring with-
into Eye of the Tiger.
No, we were making fun of it.
You could just do punching things. Like
You can
remember I
make
said
fun
you
of
have a
it and
punching doll?
enjoy
I would never do that. All right, I would never do that. So, but we're making
But you
fun
did.
of it. Making fun of it.
I know it's a joke. Calm down.
Trying to make fun
It
of
was
it.
funny. It was really funny.
But the funniest
They
thing
like
was
laughed
Lonaiah.
about
Lonaiah's
it.
funny.
I am funny. They laughed about it in our pre-service meeting when we brought it up. They laughed.
Did we tell them that?
Yeah, we did tell them that.
Okay.
All right.
So
So if Jim comes running, trotting
not
into Eye of
happening.
the Tiger.
no, it's not happening. It's not happening.
All right. Well, we'll work on
It
some.
would be a combination of dance
Can you
moves
juggle?
with boxing. No, but Lonaiah can juggle. Lonaiah can juggle and stand on her head.
I can.
Okay, one time we're in Indonesia.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm doing a medical.
That's really cool.
We had a medical
Not
team.
at the same time.
Walk on her hands.
Oh, well, I
Walk
can do
on my
I can
hands.
do all of them. I
She can walk on her hands.
can barely
But-
walk on my hands.
But
But we were at
so
this
we've
Like-
got these nurses
doctors.
and doctors, and we're treating Indonesian people that are in villages that don't have access to medical attention.
And Jim told everyone they're not allowed to go outside because there's like they're threatening us.
We're in a Muslim village.
Yeah.
And so we're in this church, and you got 1,000 villagers coming in, and my job, was to lay hands on every single sick villager as they were leaving. All right.
No, it was.
I started thinking about that. It started getting in my head. Like, these people are here because they have, I could feel like, oh my gosh, this guy's got a fever, right? I was just totally out of
burning
faith,
up.
totally out of faith. Had probably prayed over 600 people, right? I'm
Right.
kind of mad.
Right.
Oh, he's mad.
Kind of.
I'm like,
really
Kinda
mad.
mad.
like, Lonaiah has been gone for like 2 hours. I look outside, and she's in the middle of the village with like 20 Indonesian children around her.
Yeah.
and she's juggling hacky sack balls.
Yeah, they loved it.
Good for
and
you.
they're cheering for her.
I'm impressed.
And then she's trying to walk. She's walking on her hands. And she's like
car wheels.
She's like her own little circus act
I love it.
in the middle of the Indonesian village.
Hey, didn't the Lord say?
And I was like, Lonaiah,
Love the children. Yeah, he did. And I was like, what? He's like, you're not supposed to be out here. I was like,
get in here.
I was like, I was going to the bathroom.
She's
I got distracted by
Got
the cute
distracted
little
by,
kids.
loving on the children.
Like Jesus tells us to do. Bring the little children unto me. That's what I was doing.
Anyways, we'll leave you with that, right?
So Jim's not going to juggle and he's not going to run out to Rocky, but
No.
we'll see what he does.
See.
We appreciate you. If you have indeed watched it for an hour and almost 15 minutes, we appreciate it.
Yeah.
The faithful few out there that may possibly
Maybe the many.
the faithful.
Oh, ye of little
Many.
faith.
Thank you so much. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for viewing. It's an honor that we're able to do this.
Yeah.
God bless you guys. We'll see you next week.